Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of FGC Behind the Smoke. Today we have our friend Paul Tylla. Paul is the creator of Heal and co-founder of drinkheal.ca. He's a co-founder of Frontline Functional Training and Martial Arts and a lifelong public servant committed to building healthier people and communities. His career spans 28 years as a professional firefighter, supported by earlier service as a U.S. Navy rescue swimmer where teamwork, discipline, and calm under pressure mindset were essential in high risk environments. Beyond his operational career, Paul is the charitable founder and current president of the DNV Firefighters Charitable Society, where he supports initiatives where firefighters work to raise funds and awareness for community-based causes. His entrepreneurial and charitable work is grounded in service, accountability, and purposeful action. Paul's mission is deeply personal. He was the primary caregiver for his wife Linda during her battle with ALS, an experience that reshaped his understanding of strength, vulnerability, and the importance of compassionate systems of care. In her honor, Heal focuses its charitable giving on the ALS community, translating lived experience into meaningful advocacy, support, and impact for others facing similar challenges. Cool. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure. That's good
We'll
job. That's a mouthful.
I was just gonna say we might have to edit a little bit of that,
Oh no, that's
but
all. It's all good.
it's better. Sometimes it's better if we don't, so people can see that fuck up too, right? So
Yeah, I did one of these. Actually, the one that you listened to, and partway through, you can hear me telling my gal to stop trying to do the dishes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
the
that's
music
right.
running in the background, right?
Yeah,
So we're all real people doing real things, and that's what I love about these types of opportunities, podcasts, to just
yeah,
show that regular people can make a difference, and it's an honor to be on your podcast and have a chance to let maybe some of my experiences benefit other people. That's really what it's all about.
yeah. I really appreciate it, man. I know we've been trying to make this happen for a little while, and sometimes it's tough when two people are working shift work, two people
Yeah.
are running separate companies and have kids and all that stuff, and yet you were able to set some time aside to come chat with me, which is huge. And I've been really looking forward to our chat. I listened to like you said, the episode that you were on Behind the Shield there. Um, and I mean, it was an unbelievable episode, and I want to talk about a lot of that stuff. And yeah, like I said, I'm just really excited that you're here, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's my honor and my pleasure, and making time is, most of the things in my life are purposeful, and I think that this is purposeful work. So,
Absolutely,
yeah,
yeah. And it's funny you say that because like even reading in your bio there, talking about how it was you're a very purpose-driven person essentially, right? And it's the same thing with us. Like we started this podcast and this company, and it was just because like originally we just wanted to see good people get hired,
yeah,
and we knew a lot of people who were having a hard time with interviews and stuff like that, and we were just like, well, we know how to do this stuff. Like why don't we just start helping people, right? And I feel like if you do something based around the purpose that it provides for you and for other people, it's not really like work. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's interesting. I mean, philosophically, for me, most of the endeavors that I've taken in later in my life, and maybe not some of the stuff I did in the very beginning, because when you're young, you're self-motivated, self-driven. You're trying to figure out where you fit in the world.
yeah,
Now, most of the decisions I make are filtered through what would I want if I was this person.
yeah,
So putting myself in their shoes and then asking myself, how would I want to be treated and what is it that I would want or feel like I deserve? And then giving it to that other person. So
yeah,
whether that was my care for Linda or the decisions we make around our gym or the values I bring to heal and in that business, um, it's kind of the litmus test or the filter that I use for all my decisions. And if I look at it, if it's not a win for you and it's not a win for me and it's not a win for the world, like why do it?
yeah.
Like
What's the
nobody,
point?
yeah, nobody should be hurt or harmed, right? We should be stewarding our energy and effort into solutions for ourselves and other people.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Uplifting other people as
yeah,
well as yourselves.
yeah,
And I feel like when you're someone who's there to try and uplift others, you're also uplifting yourself and in a way they're uplifting you as well too, right? It's kind of like
yeah.
this circle of just helping each other out. And Which I know a lot of people say like they're like, oh, it's kind of lost in society today, but like at the same time, I also don't know if I fully agree with that because there's still a lot of great people out there that are trying to make a real impact on people's lives, right?
Yeah.
And you being one of those people.
Yeah, well,
So
I mean, like I said, 28 years as a career firefighter, dark humor lives in our job.
yeah,
The frustrations and the struggles of dealing with some of the things that we deal with on the daily. But turning a corner and just going, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm doing my best.
yeah,
I'm doing my best for them. I'm doing the best for myself. Um, even maturing the idea of why did I become a firefighter? Like if I go back to the very beginning, it was like, I want to do something that's similar to what I did in the military. Like I need this adrenaline based type of job, right? I
yeah,
don't want to just be a carpenter or not that there's anything wrong with the trades, but I was drawn to do more of what I had started out with my military time.
right,
And so that was one of the reasons, security for my family, knowing that there was going to be a paycheck there. I had two young children when I got hired. Um, and moving through some of my experiences and people would ask me like, what is it that you're actually doing as a firefighter? And there was a point in my own mental health journey where I said, well, I'm collecting the memories that you don't want.
yeah,
I'm getting paid to do the things that you don't want to have to remember. And interestingly, that brought me to a pretty dark place.
mm-hmm,
And it wasn't until I realized that what I'm actually doing is showing up every day, doing my best for them and for me.
right,
And there is no failure in showing up. There is no failure in putting your best foot forward. And I think that that's now what's trickled into all of the things that I'm doing. And really the way I build most of the relationships and the partnerships that I have in my endeavors personally and professionally. So
very well said,
yeah.
very well said. You just kind of talked about your time in the military.
Hmm.
But I'd like to go over that because are you originally from here, from Canada,
Yeah, so
Vancouver?
it's a bit of an interesting story. So I was born in Vancouver. Both my parents immigrated here from Europe. So one's from Germany, one's from Ireland. When I was about two, my parents split up. And my stepdad, who got into the picture pretty quickly, was actually from the States. He was from Michigan.
Okay.
So by the time I was, I don't know, maybe school age, I was down in Washington State, then back in BC, then in Alaska, then to Michigan. I had like 13 schools by the time I graduated.
Wow.
So yeah, he, just in his own past, he had a hard time putting down roots.
Yeah.
A couple tours in Vietnam, and he was a bit of a different guy, but um, really great in teaching me a lot of the things that I think I practice today, right? Uh,
Yeah.
Adversity is what drives us. Mediocrity is makes us complacent. So
Absolutely.
lots of adversity that led to the idea of I'm living in the States. I graduated high school in a really small town called Reed City, Michigan, like 1,200 people.
Oh, wow.
In my
Tiny.
Yeah, it was a really really small town. Um, and you know, funny enough, we talk about like before we even got started here, learning differences. And I was an undiagnosed dyslexic, and I was actually told by my school counselor that I would never be able to go to university. I just didn't have the grades for it. Funny enough, I believed
Yeah.
that. Somebody installed
Yeah.
in a belief in me that wasn't actually the truth, because I've done lots of things since then to prove to myself that that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But that kind of guided my thinking to where, well, what can I do? Right. And in the States, what people do when they can't go and get into university is they go into the military. Right. I didn't would come from a family of means, didn't have a lot of money to help me go into a trade school. So I joined the service
Right.
right at the tail end of the first Gulf War. So entered into that, had a desire right out of the gates to perform. I was really driven by the idea of you, your value isn't who you are, your value is what you accomplish.
Yeah.
Like we have that social lie, right? It's not everybody's worth the same. It's about what you achieve and accomplish that drives your value.
Right.
At that point, I had bought that. I had drank that Kool-Aid. And so I was very much driven to win in my time in the military. And so I took it the opportunity turn to get into search and rescue. There's an opportunity to be a search and rescue swimmer, which is similar to like a SAR-tech here in Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, Went through that training. Subsequently, had a couple of orders to go to BUDS as opportunities to be a Navy SEAL because they kind of, there's similarities. Do you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
type of personality.
for sure.
Neither of those programs are designed to train people in the beginning. They're actually designed to weed people out. It's an
Yeah,
attrition-based program. They're not looking to make people something. They're looking to find the people that are already that.
yeah.
Um, Unfortunately for me, but fortunately for me, um, I was a Canadian citizen, and that created some challenges inside of the security clearance I was going to need. So I got passed
Mm.
over a couple of times, and um, at the end of it, just came to peace with the idea that you know what, maybe it's time to move in a different direction. And um, yeah, I got out of the service, and that was kind of where the rest of my life started. I
So
reconnected with Linda, who we're probably going to talk about.
yeah,
Um, and I was fast forward, man. She was pregnant in a month, and life took a hold of me.
you weren't wasting any time, eh?
No, no. So, anyways, that's kind of where I got through my military time. So,
Cool.
yeah.
And then, so what ended up bringing you back up here?
So obviously, I got out of the military. I went back to Michigan. That's where Linda was from. We actually went to high school together. Reconnected, and obviously she got pregnant. Um, and it was just one of those things where we looked around at opportunity. I believed in my mind that our opportunity was in Canada. At that time, there's no socialized medicine in the United States.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't really have a career path there. Um, her parents, her one mom had passed away. She was adopted, and her dad had been diagnosed with Parkinson's. So there just, there wasn't a lot of support and opportunity there for us. And I had family here on the West Coast. So, in kind of an idyllic view of what was possible, driving my old Jeep, loaded up a U-Haul, and we just headed across the country and drove out here in the summer of, I think it was 1995,
Okay.
and landed back in Vancouver.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice. And how did she like it up here compared to Michigan? Because I mean, if I'm assuming you guys went to high school together, so she obviously probably grew up in that tiny little town,
yeah.
and then you come up to Vancouver, and it's quite the. I'd imagine it's quite the culture shock in a lot of ways.
Well, we were very different in that, she was adopted, but her parents were older, and she literally was brought into the house where she was a baby, and she lived her entire life there.
Yeah.
She didn't actually move out of that house until she went to university. So
Okay.
you nailed it, right? Like
Yeah.
she had some experiences of travel, but as far as like where she lived and the cultural safety of what she was used to, I will say though that she did fall in love with the West Coast. It's pretty
It's
hard
hard
not
not
to.
to.
Yeah,
It's hard
yeah.
not to.
Um, but we all have our challenges and our struggles. Linda struggled her whole life with depression, and she didn't really escape that when she moved out here. And um, I'd say there was just lots of, if I could define my life, the thing that has moved me has been the struggles of my life.
Yeah.
Like the goal to overcome the challenges that were in front of me. And I say this humbly. I've never been a quitter. I've always worked in the direction of I can get through this and get past this. Um, and so yeah, it's where we've landed.
It's such a. I feel like it's such an important mindset to have. Just kind of, even if you're up against a lot of adversity or whatever, you keep pushing forward and just keep moving, right? Like I feel like in the fire service we have quite a few people within the fire service that are like that have that mentality, which is good. We had I don't know, do you know Sachin?
Yep,
Laddie? Yeah. So we had him. We've had him on twice now. We had him on
yep,
before he did his run
yep.
and after he did his run. And one of the biggest things that I took away from him that I found really motivated me personally was the mindset of just not to give up. And yeah, like while he was doing his run, he's like in the shit. His fucking Achilles is blown up. His
Yep.
feet are, and he's just like, you just gotta keep going,
Yeah.
right? And I think in everyday life, you're gonna have things come up that are gonna kind of throw a wrench in your plans sometimes. But you can either have that mindset of, well, this is it, like this is, I'm fucked now or whatever, or you have the mindset of, okay, well, you know what, this is a wrench in the plans, but I gotta figure it out and I gotta find my way around this, right?
Well, it's funny. Going back in time, I had lots of friends that were in special forces because in that role of rescue swimmer, I worked on an LPD class was the platform, and that was basically Marines, Force Recon, Special Boat Units, and Navy SEALs. We did close to shore beach insertions, launched helicopters and amphibious tanks and hovercraft and all that kind of stuff. And so you get to know these guys, right? The top tier operators.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is you look at them and some of them, like obviously they look like physical specimens, but a lot of them just look like regular Joes. The one thing that they all have in common is that mindset.
Yeah.
Like none of them went into training, just like me. I didn't go into SAR training know what it was going to be like. I didn't have a way to really prepare for it. I just had to have the mindset that I wasn't going to quit.
Yeah.
And where does that start with people? I think that there's part of it's just who we are. Part of it is our upbringing. I had a very challenging childhood. I had a stepdad who just, everything was always broken and torn apart, and cars that didn't run and houses without heat. Like
Yeah.
life was really challenging. But what he showed me is he was the toughest guy I'd ever met. Like he never quit.
Yeah.
Like he had this toughness about him, and it kind of set, I think, a mental bar for me that, hey, there's more is possible. You can always push yourself harder and further.
Yeah.
Um, and funnily, like if you fast forward to the work you're doing, helping people get hired, like as well as I, guys who have tried like for lots and lots and lots of years,
Yeah.
and guys that try a couple times and quit.
Yeah.
And those guys that try for lots and lots of years, some of them don't get on, but some of them do,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And
For
it's the
sure.
fact that they didn't quit that brought them there. And then those guys, when they get on the floor and they start facing the daily routine of, I have no idea what I'm going to be facing in the fire hall,
Yeah.
just don't quit.
It's funny you say that. So I actually a friend of mine from work, he said it took him 8 years of applying to get hired, right? And I
Yep.
was like, okay, interesting. And I was like, but you kept going, eh? He goes, well, you either quit or you get hired,
Yeah.
right? So his mindset was, well, I'm just gonna keep improving myself. I'm gonna keep improving my resume. I'm gonna keep doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
And every time I get a rejection letter, I'm gonna use that as motivation to better myself. I'm not gonna make excuses about, well, they didn't hire me because of this, that, the other. I'm gonna use that to just better myself because it's, you're in control of yourself,
Yeah.
right? It was one of those things too that Seb,
Yeah.
we had Seb on
Yeah.
too, and he was telling us something similar that when he was applying to police departments, he kept getting rejection letters and he'd pin them up on his wall in his bedroom
Yeah.
and he would look at them like every day and be
Yeah.
like, and he would just use that as motivation to keep going, right? So it's it's huge. It's
There is
huge.
there's a constant there. You know what I mean? Like if you start to line up apples to apples and even apples to oranges in some cases, like if you put these different types of people with different skill sets and different abilities and you move them forward in any category, like trying to get hired on the fire department, like there's
Yeah.
lots of different types of people, but they all kind of move in that direction. And you're right. The only way you're not going to get hired is if you give up.
Yeah.
If you look at, Frontline and what we do from the standpoint of like the functional training and competing in CrossFit or the martial arts side, people don't lose fights. They typically give up,
Yeah.
right? So whether it's that one crack that kind of sets them back and they're off their game, there's obviously the circumstances where sometimes you just get knocked out.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
if you really look at it leading up to that, unless somebody's completely out skilled, which is rarely the case at the highest levels,
Yeah. It's usually, yeah, exactly.
somebody just took a dominant position and never gave it up, and the other guy slowly just gives up.
Yeah,
And I think that's life,
it is for sure.
right?
Yeah.
And for me, when it comes to where I'm at now, and somebody said something to me, or I read it or came across it. How many people do you know who are avoiding the idea of death? Most
I
people.
was gonna say pretty much everyone, really.
And so in life, what they're doing is they're planning to do certain things someday. Like someday I'm going to do this, or I'm
Hmm.
planning to do that, right? Moving in a particular direction. But if you just said my life is finite and these are all the things that I'm going to accomplish before I die,
Yeah.
It's a very different way of looking at it.
It is,
And if you
absolutely.
talk to, because I know them, if you talk to Sachin, if you talk to Seb in particular, like any of these guys, they just designed things that they knew they were going to accomplish in this life, and they went and did it,
Yeah.
knowing they only had so much time.
Yeah.
And I think that, whether it's the guy who gets hired right out of the gates or the guy it takes 8 years, neither of them have wasted any time, because what's happened is they've just decided in my life, I will achieve this and nothing is going to get in my way.
That's such a good way of putting that. Such a good
Right.
way of looking at it. Yeah. What how so you've been 28 years now
Yeah.
with the fire service. So tell us about that. Tell us about just kind of obviously we were talking before we started recording. You were saying that the military is kind of what inspired you to get into the fire service. But what was it specifically about that made the fire service appealing to you?
Yeah, I mean, if I look back and know about myself what I didn't know then is I've got a personality that's designed to help people, and at the same time I've got a belief about myself that came out of my childhood that I am my physical being. I am my physicality. My value is in what I can accomplish with my body, not with my brain.
Hmm.
Like, I was basically indoctrinated into
You were
that
you were
belief
told you
system.
were essentially
I was
told
literally
that.
told that,
Yeah.
right? And so, being in the military and excelling inside of that arena and achieving the things that I achieved in the short period of time that I was there, it just reinforced the idea that this is the path that's going to bring me the greatest amount of success in life. Just keep moving in the direction of this. um, and when I got out of the military and I started, worked as a cabinet maker, and that was a trade that I developed. It just didn't have that same purposeful feel to it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was actually tapping into my greatest potential.
Yeah.
And there's just really not a lot of jobs out there that give you that opportunity that, aren't the military,
Yeah.
right? So how do I transition from this, high level adrenaline based, type of lifestyle in the military to doing something like that for the rest of my life? And whether, it was either some sort of frontline, it had to be some sort of frontline work, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be jumping off of mountains for Red Bull. That wasn't really
Yeah.
where I was coming from,
Yeah.
right? It had to be a day to day. It had to have some sort of, I'm not just doing it to be a show. I'm doing this because it will actually have a benefit to community and a benefit to me. And maybe the early uniterated version of what we described, if it's got to help me, it's got to help you, and it's got to help somebody else to
Yeah.
make it worthwhile. That trifecta is in the fire service. Like,
It
we
is. It
have a
really is.
brotherhood. We help each other. We're helping community, and the byproduct of that is I have a rich career full of all sorts of great experiences and friendships, and have done things that other people just will never do or would ever even want to
Would never even
contemplate
think of doing,
doing,
right?
right?
Yeah.
So, and then, all of that filled with all these moments of fun and brotherhood and supporting each other through the challenges of things that we just don't even know are coming in our career. I
Yeah.
think that's a really big part of it.
Yeah, it's
You
interesting.
don't
It's
really
interesting that you say that.
know what's coming,
Yeah.
and we do hit these highs and lows. And if we were alone in it, you know,
It, yeah, if you were alone in that, that'd be tough.
right?
But that's also part of the job that I think is also exciting is you just never know, I mean, we have somewhat of a routine in our day-to-day shifts, right?
Yeah.
But you just never know what's going to happen, right? And like for me, that was something that I found like was really exciting. It was like the camaraderie, like you were talking about, the brotherhood, the passion for service, and like actually you get to kind of you do get to feel like you're making a difference. And it's not like that gets you don't get to feel like that necessarily every shift, but there's many of times in my short career that I felt I've left a call and been like, wow, we really helped somebody, and it's a good feeling,
Well, and
you
I think
know?
the thing is that you get to, it's not just what you did. I think that's the whole point of like the brother and sisterhood of the fire service is
Yeah,
that we get to lean in and say we were part of an organization that did this.
so true.
I have all sorts of ribbons from my time in the military.
Yeah,
Um, Most of them are a result of things that we did as a command.
yeah, as a
It wasn't
team,
something I just did as a standalone individual. That's a very, very rare occurrence,
it is. Yeah,
right? So, to know that really the thing that gets the job done is this community of people with a like mind and a vision.
Yeah.
for accomplishing what it is that we were designed to accomplish as an organization. And I think that's something to be proud of. I think that's something that's worth aspiring to. So,
Absolutely.
people who want to get into the fire service, if you're listening, like, it is a 100% worthwhile career.
Yeah.
Um, just be humble in the beginnings and understand that you're going to learn everything that you need to know. But I think one of the most important things to remember is that you're not going to do it all alone. You
Yeah.
are part of a team, and in the ebbs and flows of the highs and the lows, you're gonna want your brothers and sisters to understand and communicate how you're feeling. Don't ever bottle it up.
Yeah, exactly. It really is such a unique job in that sense because like my crew, like I consider them basically family. That's how close we are.
Yeah,
Like there's no other job that I can think of that's like that except for maybe in the military or something
yeah.
like that, right? And we're so fortunate to have this brother sisterhood that it's just rare. Like it's just not, you're not gonna find that, you know, being a plumber. You know what I mean? Like there's just
Well, I just don't think there's very many careers where you get to spend that many years with the same group of people.
yeah,
When I'm looking around the table at my crew, and I'm like, I think number 5 or number 6 in our seniority list now, so pretty much everybody there has started after me.
yeah,
I've worked with, anywhere from 28 right down to day one with all of these people.
yeah,
And some of them have become lifelong friendships. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's a very rare type of circumstance where that happens.
It is, and you know what though, which I find super interesting is that it's it's very rare, but it's so normal in the fire
Yeah,
service. Like even if you go, say, to somewhere in Michigan, you go to a
that's
fire
right.
hall there, it's going to be pretty similar.
Yeah.
That mentality, that brotherhood that's there, that sense of camaraderie that it's like nothing else.
Well, like the funny thing is like I've got some friends that I went to high school with. I think high school is probably the only other real form, maybe university. I didn't go, so I
Yeah.
can't speak to it. But these years where we experience these formative moments together, right, is kind of that younger period of our life.
Yeah.
Well, then you step into the fire service, and it's like no other.
Hmm.
Because even in the police service, they get transferred,
Hmm.
they get moved
Yep.
around. Like, I literally have spent my entire career with the same 130 people in some sort of like attrition based rotation.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I know all the chiefs, I know all the managers, and you know what I mean? Like, I know
Yeah.
all the other captains. Like, it really is a family, and it is one of those rare careers that creates something like that.
It
So,
is for sure. And it also it seems to carry over too into retirement. Like a friend at work just retired like last week, and so we had a bit of a retirement party, and I was there, and like there was a guy there who had been retired for like 15 years or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And there was a bunch of retired guys there, that probably didn't spend a ton of time with the individual retiring, but they came out to celebrate and show support, and
yeah,
it's like it was just I just thought it was so cool to see that because I
yeah,
don't think you get that in a lot of other careers where even of course, like we're talking about how great this brotherhood is, and there's nothing like it, but even after you retire, like that still carries over in retirement
yeah.
for the majority of
It's
people.
for sure a fraternal organization.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it,
great way of
yeah,
explaining it, actually.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
for
It's
sure.
very fraternal.
Yeah.
So, um, and that's great. That's what's great about it.
Yeah.
And I've got lifelong friends, whether I'm retired or not. I know that I'll be able to call them up and they lean on them, they can lean on me. We can have some fun. We can catch up on old times. Like,
Yeah.
it's all good. So, if you ask me like, why did I transition from, my time in the military to fire? Um, that was again part of it. Is
Yeah.
like, when you're in a position of counting on the people next to you, to your right and your left and your front and your back, for your safety and for you to accomplish the mission. Right? You just don't get that anywhere else.
No.
You
No,
just
it's
don't.
yeah,
So,
exactly. It's so true, man.
yeah. And it's an indoctrination. It's a really great path. I've absolutely no regrets. In my latter years, I've become now way more cerebral and way more interested in educating myself, um, more than I ever have. I just consume information, and I love new topics. I love, uh, you know bringing that into my brain and chewing on it and continually evolving as a person in the way I see the world and I see myself. I think there's a huge value in it. Um,
Absolutely.
but you know what? It's like, what are we here for? And if it's not to learn and grow, and remember what we're designed to do, which is, I think, care for each other.
Hmm.
It's just, how are we going to do it, and how do I see myself in the doing?
Yeah,
I think that's really important, actually, to hone in on that.
I
Like,
agree.
you know, what are we doing, and what are we being as we're doing it? Like that's really the surmise, right?
Yeah.
Because there are guys who look at the job, any job, and go, I'm being troubled by X.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is a burden to me to have to deal with this type of person
Yeah.
or this type of situation, but I'm doing it because it's my job, right? So
Yeah.
what are you being in that is somebody who's letting that situation have a negative impact. If you just shift your mindset and go, this is just another human being who just doesn't have the resiliency that I have.
Yeah.
Like, I'm lending them my resiliency.
It's crazy how that play, like just something as simple as that, right, can make such a big impact in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like like if you're somebody and you go to a job that you don't like every day, and every day you show up and you go, this place fucking sucks. I fucking hate this. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to if you show up and you go, okay, you know what? I want to try and get something good accomplished today. I want to feel proud about the work that I've done today. You know what? It's a shitty day out. We're gonna be outside in the weather. You know what? It's just water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you just change the way that you think, like that's gonna carry over into other parts of your life as well,
Yeah.
right? And I think you're just gonna be happier in general if you can do that.
Well, the funny thing is it's like, from the people you're, say, let's trying to help with their interview and get ready. It's not what you're doing. It's not that you're doing an interview. It's, what am I being in the doing of that thing?
Yeah,
What am I being in the doing of my interview? What am I being in the doing of my job as a firefighter? What am I being in the doing of my relationships? What am I being in the doing of the things that I do to give back to community? What am I being in the doing of creating this business or this opportunity that, you know, is gonna benefit me, but ultimately should be designed to help someone else? Like,
yeah,
really, that's about stewardship. Pick the captain that retired. You don't remember what he did. You remember what he was being when he did it.
yeah. That's so true,
That
man.
guy was a grumpy old, right?
Yeah,
Or that guy was
exactly.
such a great guy to have around the hall. You don't remember what he did. You remember what he was being,
Yeah.
on the macro, you know?
Yeah, it's so true, man. That's such an interesting way of putting it, because I never thought of it like that before. But you're so right. Like when we look back on, like you said, people who have retired and stuff like that, people always bring up, like you said, like what they were being. This guy was acted like this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like this guy was so negative. He would come in, he would just bitch and complain the whole, you know what I mean? Like that, and that's kind of like your legacy that ends up carrying over too,
Well, go to
right?
a funeral.
Yeah, yeah,
Go to a funeral. Listen to what people are saying.
yeah, yeah. That's where
They're
you
they're
really
rarely
find
they're
out.
rarely saying, "Oh, this was George. We're laying him to rest. He had $5 million in his bank account and 20 properties, and he
Yeah,
ran all these businesses." No, they say he was a father, he was a brother, he was a son, he was, a philanthropist. He was, like, whatever. It's what was he being in his life? Like,
yeah,
he was a good dad. He was a good friend. He was, right. He was a
yeah,
he was a he was a great gift to community. Like, they remember the highlights of your life are what you were being,
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
right? Is your are you having your funeral in a phone booth, or do
Yeah,
you have to rent out a whole coliseum? Like,
yeah,
that to me is the difference.
yeah. For sure, it says a lot about you, right? And like I mean, I do know people who I feel all that they care about is making as much money as possible. But they do that at the sacrifice to their own happiness. And that's something that I never really understood,
Yeah.
and like it really makes me feel so fortunate to be in a career that when I show up to work, I love it. I'm excited. I've been on 8 years now, 9 if you include my time as a volunteer, and I am excited for every shift that I go to.
Yeah.
I really am, man. Like it's such an unreal job. And I mean, and this is something that we tell like some of our listeners and some of the clients that we get to is those are the people that we want to try and help get hired are the people that want to do the job for the job because they're passionate about helping their community. They're passionate about having that camaraderie. They want to be a good firefighter. They want to be there to potentially save lives, right?
And that's why they won't quit.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're, it's the same thing as what I said about getting into anything to do with special warfare when I was in the military.
Yeah.
There's a reason you can't just sign up when you enlist to become a Navy SEAL or to become a SAR swimmer or special boat units or
Yeah.
anything. You have to be in it, and then you have to show them that you're the type of person that won't quit.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're driven by a passion.
Yeah.
You're driven by something bigger than just a monetary goal,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and
right?
like you said, like the whole thing with buds and stuff like that is not to train that mindset into you, but to weed out the people who don't
Don't
have
have
that
it.
mindset,
That's it.
right?
There's
Because
a
like,
reason they got a bell.
yeah,
You can quit anytime you want.
yeah,
We want you to quit. We want to know
it's
who the quitters
encouraged.
are. It's
Yeah,
encouraged to quit.
yeah,
Get out of here now. Save us some time, effort, and energy,
yeah,
right? If that's the kind of person you are, there's the door,
yeah,
right? And I would say the
exactly.
same thing to people who want to be in the fire service or like I'm probably a little bit old school. I don't think it's for everybody.
I fully agree with you
And
on that, and we've said that on this podcast before. We've said, and I've brought this up at work before too, where it's like it's okay that this job isn't okay for everybody. You know what I mean? Somebody might want to do this job, but this might not be the job for them, and that's okay.
well, and the funny thing is that we you know, and the conversation can go whatever direction, but to me, it's like pull yourself out of the thing that you're in and ask yourself some questions,
Hmm.
right? How many people in the world can be brain surgeons?
Definitely not me. I'll tell you that
Is
right
it
now.
okay to say that that job's not for everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
so there should be no stigma built around the idea that we're saying that this job isn't for everyone. It
Yeah.
just isn't. There's
Yeah.
all sorts of jobs. Like I don't have the capacity to, uh, be a computer programmer. Like I just
It's not for you.
it's just not a fit. Like it's just
Exactly.
not a fit. And that's it's all okay, right?
Exactly.
It takes everybody doing what they do to make the world go round. And all I'm saying is that whether it's starting a business, whether it's the career that you are choosing, make sure that you find some sort of purpose in it so that you can weather the tough times.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
ultimately, what we're saying is the only thing that's really going to keep you from quitting on anything is knowing that that's what you're meant to do
Exactly.
and finding purpose and passion and a drive to accomplish the task.
Yeah.
Just don't quit. But
Exactly.
you'll if you know what it is that you actually want, you won't.
Yeah, well, that's just it, right? If yeah, like
It's not too complicated, is my point.
exactly. It's I think people think it is, but it really isn't. Going back to like talking about that mindset, right? Like if you have that mindset, it really isn't that difficult of an idea to grasp,
The
right?
idea is actually really simple,
Yeah,
but it's hard as hell.
yeah. It's hard because, well, one, I think because a lot of people have an issue with rejection or failure, right?
Or they like the idea of something more than they actually like the doing of that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we do see that in the fire service. You know, there are people, and this goes for everywhere. I believe, like in the States, wherever. But there are people who I think maybe get into this career because they want to be known as a firefighter. They want the title,
Yeah.
as opposed to having having to really do the job in its full capacity and giving back to the job as well, right? Like, you run the charitable for the district, right? A big thing is we're volunteering a lot of our time on our days off,
Yeah.
right? Because like once again, it's for the greater purpose, right? And when it comes to the charitable and to us volunteering on our time off, if we didn't volunteer, there's a lot of people that would go without some of these services because they don't have the funds or the means to have to be able to pay for this sort of thing,
Yeah.
right? So that's another thing that I just kind of popped in my mind that I've been wanting to bring up on the podcast lately is just that um because sometimes you hear people like bitching about having to volunteer on their days off sometimes and stuff, right? And I don't want people to lose sight of why they got into this job, you know?
Yeah.
And the overall picture is we are here to help people,
Yeah,
you
and I
know?
and that, like my role, the title of president, I sit on a board of we're all the same guys, different seniorities,
Hmm.
um, different, experiences and interests, but we all have the same goal. Um, our charitable has really grown and multiplied. We've actually brought in an executive director. We actually have some paid positions on our charitable because it really
Nice.
started to grow. We have a real push back into community. So everything that we do to raise money rolls right back into the District of North Vancouver taxpayers. Like we're Salmonoid Society, we're A4K, we're Buddy Check for Jesse. We really want people to see the value of supporting their local firefighter charity because the
Mm.
charity is designed to give back into that community. And I think that that's actually a representation of most of the fire departments in the Lower Mainland and across Canada and the United States
Yeah.
is that we have our area. We take care of our patch of land and the
Yeah.
people that live there. We're in service to the taxpayers of our community, and whether that's providing the service that we provide as professional firefighters, or if it's the service that we provide in giving back and volunteering and coaching and whatever it is that you put your hand up to do. And I like I said, I've been on this for a part of this for a long time.
Hmm.
Um, and I've stepped in and helped to get this charitable going and its creation, and then stepped away, and now I've stepped back in. But the units of labor and the amount of love and passion and energy that the community of firefighters drives back in to
Yeah.
community, if anything, it's something that just isn't probably really well advertised. We
Yeah.
don't really talk
Yeah.
about it enough in community, and we don't give people the opportunity to see their donation go to their local firefighters charity, knowing that that money is just going to come right back into community.
Yeah.
Like, so for me this year, we've just made it our mandate. We're just basically, it's an awareness campaign this year that we just want everybody in the North Shore to know that we exist.
Yeah. Which
And
is good because, like you said, like I feel like a lot of people in the community aren't aware of how much these fire department charitable societies really do give back,
yeah,
right? I mean, people see us, shaking the boots, doing the boot drive and stuff like that. They donate a couple bucks or whatever. Um, but I would say overall, for the most part, they don't like I've done that before, doing the boot drive and stuff like that,
yep,
where people have come up and be like, "Oh, does this go towards your department?" For like better equipment and stuff. I'm like, no, like
it's a
this is a
charity. Yeah,
charity,
yeah.
right? And it's just creating that awareness so people understand that. I think when you do that too, when people are more aware of it, they're gonna look for it more. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, the funny thing is I think it's a behavior inside of the fire service to not really take
it
compliments,
is just to
to
be
to
humble,
to to
right?
be humble, to
Yeah,
like, we all have a hard time taking a thank you or a pat on the back because we just feel like, well, this is just my job. Like, I don't really feel like I did anything special. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
and I think for most people that's hard to understand or comprehend, but it's just the way it is. That's
yeah,
that's that's who we are. We don't go seeking accolades for just doing our job, right? That's
exactly.
and
That's
I
not why we got into the job. Was we didn't do it to get recognition, right?
100%. And I think that where our charitable endeavors and where we actually kind of shoot ourselves in the foot is because we don't let people know what we do.
Yeah,
They don't know what we're doing, and therefore they can't support us. And so we end up working really hard to raise money to give back, when if we just let people know what it is that we're doing, they and how they can participate, like, man, send your taxable donation to us this year instead of the United Way, because
yeah,
we're going to make sure that that playground gets built, or
exactly.
right, like, and,
Like you
and we're
said, it
doing
goes
stuff
right
like that in
back into
community.
that community, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a big fan of that. Like, I see the macro of helping. So like in my businesses as an example, and I know we're going to probably talk a little bit more about that, but like,
yeah,
um, to me, it's really about what is the business supplying back to people,
yeah.
whether that's local community or the greater population at large, right? Because I have two very different businesses.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
do, which is yeah, they're very different, but I can see how they can kind of also um benefit each other. You know what I
100%.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But speaking of which, do you mind if we switch
Yeah,
topics and we
let's
go
do
over
that.
that?
Let's do that.
Because
Yeah, it's all
uh,
it's all connected in the end anyways. So,
exactly, yeah. So I first met you because I started training jiu-jitsu at your gym.
yeah.
You and Sean, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, we had Sean on a year ago or something like that to talk about the martial arts side. But I really wanted to have you on as well to talk about the high rocks, the functional fitness, the CrossFit side of it.
Yeah.
Just and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I haven't done it. I haven't done it, but I do 100% plan on coming out and starting training that way because lately I've been talking to more and more people. We've had more kind of fitness related guests on the
Yeah.
show, especially like kind of tailored towards the fire service,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I've always worked out kind of almost bodybuilding style, right? And with that, I find like you lose functionality and all this kind of stuff. So let's talk about like how did you get into like the kind of CrossFit world and
Sure.
and how have you seen it benefit you as a firefighter, maybe compared to other methods of training?
For sure. For sure. Well, I mean, for me, it goes back to my time in high school. So I wrestled in school,
Yeah.
and wrestling to me is one of the toughest sports that you could possibly train for because it requires, cardiovascular, muscular endurance, strength, the ability to recover, and you're pushing against another person as hard as you possibly can to accomplish the goal, right?
Yeah.
It has a life or death kind of component that really drives the bar of how far you can push yourself,
Yeah.
and I loved that. Um, Beyond that, I mean, I've done the gambit. So, if that was my methodology coming into the military, then I'm, training kind of that Navy SEAL style, lots of like body weight, lots of running, everything designed around efficiencies of your body, swimming, all of
Hmm.
that stuff. Um, Getting out of the military and then, doing a little bit of the gym stuff, doing a bit of the bodybuilding stuff, not to bodybuild, but just like that style of lifting.
Yeah, same. That's essentially,
Right.
yeah.
That's,
Yeah,
you're not doing it with a goal other than just to be strong
exactly. To be
and
fit.
feel fit.
Yeah.
I was a semi-professional triathlete for a while. I did a ton of adventure racing. So I kind of went on the deep dive into the whole cardio side of things and really loved that. Um, but where I really found the best balance, if we want to give CrossFit a plug, they kind of started the trend, but
Hmm.
really it's functional training. So
Yeah.
it's that ever varying kind of methodology of doing your cardio and doing all your strength and doing all of your endurance work. But it doesn't have to be running. You can do cardio with a set of dumbbells, right? Like
Yeah.
it's constantly challenging your body. And for me, where I kind of got introduced to that was, funnily enough, through my son. So
Okay.
I've got two adult kids, one's 30, one's 29, and then I've got a 4.5-year-old daughter.
Oh, do you? Right on.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I've kind of gone full spectrum, starting all over. But for my son, uh, what we found is that the best way to spend time together was doing things that he enjoyed. And it got to a point he'd played soccer at a really high level. He kind of had enough. And I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do next? And he's like, well, I'd like to try CrossFit. So we actually met Seb, right,
Yeah.
uh, through Sheepdog, which was his and Rob Farrer's gym. They
That's right.
started
Yeah.
that gym together. We started going there in 2010, myself
Okay.
and my son. He was 6'3", 145 pounds.
Your
Uh,
son?
yeah, yeah, he was 15 years old. We got at it, and it just became our new passion. Loved it. Um, but if I look at that as how did that change me from somebody who at that time was doing a tremendous amount of yoga because I
Hmm.
went down that path too and was a
Yeah.
teacher, and I have a hard
Man,
time
you've worn a lot of different
I have a
hats.
hard time doing things halfway. I'm all in on it when
All
I
in
do
or
it. Yeah.
nothing. That's awesome.
But once I found Seb and I found Sheepdog and I found CrossFit, and I realized that there was so many holes in my fitness.
Hmm.
So at any given time, I had a strength that was like siloed into this like high level of accomplishment, but that left me weaker in other areas. functional training balances that equation.
Right.
Right. So to me, anybody wanting to be a career firefighter or a police officer, paramedic, any kind of front military, any kind of frontline service, you can't have holes,
No, no, absolutely not.
right? Like
Yeah,
if it's that one thing that you're weak at that you run into, that's the thing that's going to kill you. So
exactly.
that methodology for me is, out of all the things that I've ever done, I'll never stop it
Yeah.
because it really does give you the best bang for your buck, and um, prepares you for the what I call, or what I would consider, anyone in frontline work. We're tactical athletes.
Yeah.
There's an expectation of performance, and if all you're doing is bodybuilding in a gym, but you don't have the muscular endurance, or you don't have the cardiovascular ability to do work for a period of time, if you haven't tested your edge,
Hmm.
you're doing yourself, your coworkers, and the person that you're designed to serve a disservice.
Yeah,
You just aren't going to be able to hit the mark.
exactly.
So where Sheepdog was my introduction to functional training, and working with great people like Rob and Seb. Um, when I met Sean and learned a little bit more about what he was doing, was actually again through my son.
Okay,
So he
nice.
he developed an interest in jujitsu, and so before COVID, he had started training with those guys, and kind of like the early morning training with Scotty and Sean and
Yep.
Seb, um, and so, again, out of a want to spend time with my kid, I've always found that the best way to build a friendship with your children is to do the things that they want to do. So, I, like you, I started doing jujitsu when I think I was 48 or 49,
Yeah.
right? Kind of an old dog
Yeah, yeah.
to get started at it. But, to me, it was like, if I'm a black belt in CrossFit, this is my opportunity to do something new, learn a new thing. And so
Yeah.
I started doing it, and I kind of fell in love with it. And subsequently, Sean and his business needed to relocate. We had an extra bay. They subletted from us. They were running independent, and just, through a realization, we're just like, well, why would we keep these things apart?
Yeah.
Like, particularly if you think about police officers,
Yeah.
like, what police officer doesn't deserve to have the fitness that comes from functional training
Yeah.
and the applied skill of jujitsu, kickboxing, MMA? Like, that should be like a criterial want
A
for
100%.
anybody working in
100%.
that. So that's where the whole concept of changing Ascension and Sheepdog to frontline functional training and martial arts came from.
Right.
Is it wasn't so much that it was just going to be the best business decision. It was what we just believed that people deserve to have. So it goes
Yeah.
back to that concept. Like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Why are you
Eh,
keeping your doors open during COVID? It's because people deserve to have that.
Yeah,
You're doing it
absolutely.
as a service to community. The byproduct is that you get to say that you own the business. But I'll tell you, gyms are it's not a place
It's
to make money.
it's not an easy business.
It's a place to build community, and we're really proud of the
Exactly.
community that we're building. So
Yeah, it's because it's such a unique thing because I don't know any other gym that gives you the option to go and train martial arts and then go over and do some functional fitness as well. And
yeah,
so it's just and like the name Frontline, like that's like it's the best name because I find that it's one, I find jujitsu for me and my mental health is like that is
so
the
good for you.
key, dude.
Yeah,
Like ever since I started training jujitsu, I found like it's the biggest stress relief.
yeah,
And I've compared it to almost a form of meditation in a way where because you have to be in the moment,
yeah,
right? And that's all that meditation is
yeah,
is just keeping your mind within the moment, right?
yeah.
And like our listeners are probably sick of me talking about jiu-jitsu because I preach about it nonstop, right? But the reason why I do that is because I know how much it's helped me, right? So to be a first responder and to be able to go train jiu-jitsu and then also have the functional fitness side of things all within the same place,
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge,
Yeah.
right? And even for people who are just wanting to get into the fire service, like like you were talking about how if you're only training a certain way, you're going to have holes in your game, right?
Yeah.
And those holes are going to be exposed at some
Exposed.
point,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Um, like what a great place to be able to come to start training and start getting ready for the fitness process and all that stuff. And not only are you going to do that, but you're going to meet tons of like-minded individuals. You're going to meet other first responders. You're going to be able to get advice from different people. Like it's just,
You're nailing
yeah.
it. I mean, I'll go back to the meditation thing because to be completely honest, if you're doing a handstand walk or you're cleaning, 250 pounds, or you're, in a combative position with another guy, trying to puzzle your way through and chess play your way through his skill set against your skill set so
Mhm.
you don't get choked out.
Yeah.
Or even my time in yoga, where you're like balancing and focused on achieving a particular posture and holding it. Your brain can't be anywhere else.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're not going to be
I
successful at it.
truly would agree with you that from the standpoint of like uh, keeping your brain and your attention focused, that is that opportunity meditation that comes from those types of activities. And
Hmm.
I fully endorse everything that you've said about it, whether it's jujitsu or the functional training or things like yoga, anything that pulls your attention to the moment where your
Yeah.
life is actually created.
Yeah.
It reminds you that it's not what happened to you yesterday and it's not what's coming tomorrow that matters. It's
Right
what's
now.
happening right now.
Yeah.
And you get this just byproduct of taking care of your body that is also helping you mentally and emotionally to process life.
Yeah.
I don't even think you have to consciously put a notation to it like you're doing is great. But I think people don't even realize it just
It's just
happens.
yeah, well, that's just it.
Just happens.
And I mean, me personally, like I didn't even realize it until I really started to think about it. And I remember after I started training, I was like, man, I feel great. Like I feel like I don't have
A
like
worry in the
I was
world.
stressed, I had
Yeah.
anxiety, all this stuff and all this stuff's gone. And then I'm like, what the? And then I'm like, it's the jujitsu. And I started really thinking about it,
Yeah.
right? And just how important it's been for me. And like like I said, that's why I constantly harp on it here because I know how valuable those types of things are for first responders.
Well,
You know?
that's the thing. So like if you look at it holistically, like and I love the way you framed it. Like we've got, use Seb as an example. He's actually a retired ERT with the
Yeah.
RCMP. He's moving on and doing some other amazing things in his world and consulting and things like that. But a guy who started a gym like Sheepdog, became a black belt in jujitsu, has a mastery of his craft in ERT. Now he's got his thinking cap on and he's doing all of these amazing things to now take not just his knowledge, but the confidence that comes out of that stuff,
Mm,
the certainty of what you can achieve
yeah,
isn't
absolutely.
isn't an arrogance. It's a humble certainty.
Yeah.
And those are the types of people you want to be around. And I would say that, when you look at the crew of people at Frontline, whether it's the coaches or the community, particularly on the first responder side, um, the how humble and how nice they are. Like they're just nice because they don't need to be anything else.
Exactly. That's
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Seb's one of the nicest guys I know, but he is an absolute killer,
Oh, he's an animal.
right?
Yeah.
Like we Dimitri, have you
Yeah.
met
Yeah,
Dimitri,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like one of our coaches, Ukrainian guy, he served in the Ukraine military. He's over here. Was an MMA fighter in Russia and the Ukraine before the war.
Yeah.
Nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
He would absolutely kill me. And
Oh yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing about him that needs to be he doesn't have to promote it.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
like you said,
There's a kindness.
it's that humble confidence where like I feel like people who are loud and arrogant and stuff like that, that's due to like insecurities and stuff. That's due to their lack of confidence in their abilities,
Yeah.
right? And they feel the need to have to voice it and to be loud so that way people think that they're confident in what they're doing when they're
Well, I
really
mean,
not.
and the segue back to the people who are wanting to work in frontline jobs. Like
Hmm.
you had Sean on.
Hmm.
The guy was a professional MMA fighter. He's a third-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. He just decided a few years ago that he was going to become a paramedic.
Yeah.
Do you think that he had any doubt in his mind of whether or not he was going to accomplish that?
Oh, not at all.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and he didn't have to be arrogant about it. He just had a degree of certainty.
Yeah.
And so what I think is that when you know you have holes or you have a sense of fragility inside of, what you might face, that's what gets picked up in the interview.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
right.
Yes.
It's no one's going to go, oh, well, this guy was already a firefighter for 20 years, so let's hire him. Like everybody that gets hired is never, maybe they volunteered, but like,
Yeah.
they haven't actually done the job. So what is it that you're looking for is you're not going to quit. You're a good student. You're humble and you have confidence and claim in your ability to show up that way.
Exactly.
And when
Yeah.
you apply that physical, mental, and emotional piece that you gain from, that the gym floor or from the mats, and you've, you know, got to be around people that are doing it.
Hmm.
Like I think the transformative experience I saw in my son. Here's a guy that went from playing high level soccer all the way through grade 11, right?
Hmm.
But with who? Other kids. Well, now he walks into Sheepdog CrossFit and he's training with Seb.
Yeah.
His perspective of what he's capable of is no longer now gauged against a bunch of 15-year-olds.
It's completely changed.
It's completely changed. Here's a top tier operator who's an absolute physical specimen, and
Yeah.
this is who he gets to train with and compare himself to.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be certain when you walk into your interview, do more of that.
Exactly.
Don't hide from it. Embrace it.
Exactly. It's almost like going back to kind of what we were talking about earlier with like kind of putting yourself in almost an taking yourself out of your comfort zone essentially.
You have to.
Because if you're constantly stuck in your comfort zone and you're never going to grow from that, right?
Well, change is chaos.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing in your life that you changed that didn't create some sort
Oh,
of chaos.
it's all chaos.
So well, this is what I'm saying, right? So the thing that's going to give you confidence to weather the chaos is having done it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's why Seb right now can consult and do the things that he's doing. I think he went and got a master's degree and
He's got like he's got a master's degree in like counterterrorism and now he's getting a master's degree in theology.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know what the fuck that means if I'm honest.
At the end of the day, what it showcases is that his physical has led him to realize that his greatest tool is his mind,
Hmm.
and he can lean into all of the things that he has achieved physically and experientially to give him the confidence for the next season of his life.
Yeah.
That's wisdom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the definition of wisdom.
Yeah.
And he has that to impart, but he doesn't push it on people, but he'd share it with anybody.
Yeah.
Right? And I think
Exactly.
that even for myself, that's where I've the place that I've reached in my life now, where it's like, I don't care to be right. I'm not emotionally attached to you doing what it is that I say or think.
Hmm.
I'm just here to share. And if that resonates with you, I'm here to help you. So if you look at what I'm doing with Sean and what we're doing at Frontline, that's not because that's what everybody should do and we're right and we're the best gym. No, it's none of that.
Hmm.
It's just all the things that we just said. If you really want to be surrounded by people who are really, really good at what they do, you got to find the places where they hang out.
Exactly.
And if you're not able to get in the fire hall and hang out, and you're not able to get into the police station or the ambulance station to hang out with these people, you got to go pay attention to what the people are doing that you want to be like.
Exactly.
Right. And that's the same thing for me in business. Like I had no experience in business when I started either of my businesses.
Yeah.
I just had a desire and a passion to go out and achieve the goal. It was interacting with all of the things that I didn't know that led me to find people who I could bring into my space that had already done it, and I can learn from them. And it's this constant up leveling and up leveling and up leveling, and the circle of people that you're hanging out with just starts to change. You know what I mean? And,
Absolutely.
before you know it, you're a fire chief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you own a multi-million-dollar business that's doing great work, or you've got a gym that is designed to help, police and fire and ambulance have every skill set they need to weather the mental and emotional and physical challenges that they're going to face in their career.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like we're full of those people. Like I'm actually kind of counting in my head, like the number.
Well, there's no shortage of them at your gym.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I can honestly say every encounter I've ever had with anybody at that gym has been nothing but positive.
Yeah.
Really has between
I appreciate you saying
from the coaches to just the people that train there. It kind of reminds me actually like the whole brotherhood thing
that.
that we were talking about. I find that at Frontline it's very similar. The community that's there is very similar, right? Everyone's very friendly. Everyone's got each other's backs. Everyone's helping each other out. I know people who don't want to get into, say, jiu-jitsu because they find it maybe intimidating, right? Which I get. Like, you walk in there, you see a bunch of dudes with cauliflower
For
ears,
sure.
and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they look like scary people, but the reality is they're all very, very kind people.
And they were all you.
Exactly.
At one point, they were you.
Everyone
Yeah.
started there's the same start line, right? It's just kind of where you finish,
Yeah.
right? Are you going to make it to the finish line? Or are you going to stop halfway? Are you going to stop a quarter of the way, right?
Yeah.
Those are just the guys that I say made it to the finish line. They're still not at the finish line, but in the sense of they just continue to not give up, and they continue, now they're at the point where they're coaching and training and all that kind of stuff, right? But they're still students in the
For
same
well,
sense,
I think
you know.
anybody who believes that they figured it all out, they don't
That's the
realize that you're constantly learning and remembering,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Um, without getting too deep into the philosophy of it, I think it's why we're here.
One thing
Is
that we always say at work is no matter how great something is, or no matter how great somebody thinks they might be, there's always room for improvement,
oh man,
you know.
100%.
And it's true, and it's awesome to see people who understand that, and they just continue to just try and progress and
Yeah,
progress and progress, and they just try and be the best version of themselves every day, and just get slightly better,
yeah,
each day, each week, and these little micro changes that you make over the long term just make you so much better,
yeah,
right? And like I said, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but if, like you said, like you got into yoga to the point where you were instructing,
yeah,
right? Well, you just kept putting your best foot forward. You kept learning. You kept trying more things. You kept doing what you felt was, you probably didn't even feel like it was work or anything like that. It was just something you enjoyed, but you have that mindset of always continually improving yourself because you know that your potential is way ahead.
well, it is really interesting. We are this, this, whether you want to call it a spirit or a soul, the thing that's inside of us that's talking to us all the time. And then there's our mind and our body, right? We're this three-part being. Um, and interestingly enough, when you look at what it is that we choose to think, say, and do, that's what grows us in that inner voice.
Hmm.
You want to calm that. You want to align with the conversations that you're having with yourself. Do you want to stop being your own worst critic? Do you want to stop the judgment and just embrace that you're a person doing their best?
Hmm.
It all lives in the idea of getting around other people, realizing you're not alone,
Yeah.
finding a community. I would say that's why, whether it's the fire service or what you're referencing at Frontline, um, is that you keep going because of the people.
Yeah.
You keep going because you feel better being around other people that are striving to be better people.
Exactly.
And, if you look at the types of people who are nefarious and go out and do, the bad actors, they usually end up alone.
Yeah. It's very true.
I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people at the funeral of the bad guy,
No.
right? There's not going to
Exactly.
be a whole lot of people hoping that guy comes to the retirement dinner so they can high five and have a laugh and talk about the good old days. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um, and so again, we're talking about what my life has been and what I've done and the relatability that we have with the service. But it all comes back down to me what you're being and the doing of your life. It's
Yeah.
a really, really simple, what am I going to be today as it relates to anything that I'm going to do in my life?
Yeah.
In my own body, in my own mind, and how I'm relating with other people.
Yeah.
And if you let that be your guide, no matter how challenging your day is, you should be able to sit down at the end of the day and go, you know what, I put my best foot forward, you know, put a
Exactly.
smile on your face, hug the people you're with, and know that you're moving in a good direction.
Well, that's another thing I was going to say is like you can also take comfort in knowing that you're at least trying your best. Like just kind of relating it back to people who are trying to become firefighters. If you get, say, a rejection letter, but you know that you did your best and you really put in the work, and you just need to add a bit more now because now you realize that. As opposed to somebody who, it's like, oh, I got an interview coming up next week, whatever, I'll figure it out when I get there. And then you don't pass that interview. Like, I don't understand how you could leave that interview after and not be like, why did I not take
Yeah.
this more serious?
Well, I mean, the people who don't take it serious probably didn't really want the job in the first place, or they
Yeah.
were just ego driven to the point of just thinking because I was this, they should just hire me. Like there's all
Yeah.
there is that.
We definitely heard that
Yeah,
before.
there are these types of
Yeah.
guys who just feel like and gals that it's just owed to them because of something else they've done in their life.
Yeah.
I think that what's the continuity across all of the things that we've talked about, whether it's military, um, police, fire, ambulance, jujitsu, uh, functional training, yoga, you just got to keep showing up.
Yeah.
So, I personally have removed the word try from my life. I'm not trying. I'm doing every single day.
Yeah.
The result is not a try. The result is I did it and I got feedback.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to be better at jujitsu or I want to be better at business, I have to pay attention to the feedback I got. It's no different than how we write our operational guidelines and,
Hmm.
and SOPs and stuff for the fire service.
Yeah.
We don't write them at the fire. We come back and we review what went right and what went wrong, and then we develop, refine, and train. And that
Make the
is
changes required to have it a more potentially a more successful outcome further down the line, right?
so that's a universal truth.
Yeah.
You can't remove that feedback loop from
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want anything worth having, you just keep showing up. That's
Yeah.
not trying, that's doing. Trying to me is like, well, I'm trying to get off my couch and trying to think about what I want to do and like trying is a
I
lack
feel
of action.
that I was just gonna say I feel like, and I don't know if this is the right word to use, but like I feel like trying is almost an excuse. Like
It gives you a way out.
it does.
That
Exactly.
word gives you a way out.
Yeah.
Well, I tried jujitsu.
Yeah.
Well, I tried functional training. Well, I tried getting on the fire department. Well, I
Yeah.
tried. Well, you either did or you didn't, man.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
either did it or you didn't.
Yeah.
The outcome isn't the determiner of whether you did it or didn't do it.
Yeah.
Go do it. When you run out of options, you can be at peace with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's it. But if you're certain that it's something that you want to achieve, like, if I go, well, I'd love to be a black belt in jujitsu. Well, I haven't been training uh, regularly for the last year just because of a bunch of other things that I've been working on. I'm not marking myself lousy for it,
Hmm.
but I didn't make any advancement in the last year.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a essentially a consequence of your own action,
That's it.
right?
I just didn't show up. All
Yeah.
I had to do was show up.
Yeah.
All I had to do is go around and hang around people that know what I want to know, that are doing what I want to be able to do,
Yeah.
and take that feedback on a personal level and figure out how can I get better in my way? What's my style going to be? What's my expertise going to be? How am I going to be better based on what I want me to be?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's
Yeah.
lots of black belts out there that might not be the type of person that I want to be, but
Yep.
you know what I mean? I've got something to learn from
You could
them.
still learn lots from someone
There's
like that.
fire
Doesn't
captains.
necessarily mean that you need to become that person.
Well, yeah, and
You're
there's
gonna become
captains that I've worked with that I don't want to be that type of captain, but I'm grateful for them showing me not what I don't want to do.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but if I just tell myself I'm just trying, it's like trying is lying, really.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking you for saying the word try. I think
No,
it's a
no,
really
but
good point that the words that we use create the world that we create.
yeah,
I'm not a
absolutely.
trier, I'm a doer.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if if people have one thing to say about me, what was he being? He was being a doer.
Yeah.
He
It,
wa-
it
he was getting out there and getting it done.
it goes back to like how we originally started this conversation today is just about that mindset, right? And just how these little things, like for example, I'm a doer, I'm not a trier, something like that, reframes your mind in such a different way where I feel like you're gonna hold yourself more accountable and these sorts of things, right? Um,
Well, it's a guiding principle. And at the end of the day, you don't have to beat yourself up,
yeah,
but you have to own your life.
yeah,
You have to own the outcome.
absolutely, yeah,
And if you can look at yourself and go, well, I just didn't do it. I didn't go to jujitsu 4 times a day, and therefore I didn't become a black belt in 7 years.
Yeah.
It took me 15 years because I took some time off and I was only going 3 days a week and then 2 days a week, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Maybe you
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
ever get to achieve a black belt in jujitsu. Maybe you only ever get to blue belt.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting because it's a really great measure of your life.
It is.
But
It is
at
for
no
sure.
point in there should you be judging yourself. You
Yeah.
just have to own it. You have no one to blame.
Exactly. That's a yeah, exactly. That's a really good way of putting it. You shouldn't be judging yourself. You just need to own it. Which is true, right? I mean, listen, shit happens in life, right?
Well, I mean, Linda's a perfect example of that.
Exactly. And which you said you were totally cool to talk
Yeah,
about. So I'd
yeah.
like to
This is
get into
probably a good
that.
time.
I'd like
Yeah.
to get into that as well. But yeah, tell us about Heal and how that started because I know that that all originated as kind of a legacy for your wife. So
Yeah,
if you don't
no, I
mind
mean
talking
it,
about
it
her and what she went through and all that stuff and how it brought you to create something to help other people as well.
for sure. For sure. Well, I'll go back to say by we're not motivated by mediocrity, we're motivated by adversity.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, it's the challenges in life that drive us to accomplish to solution. Um, and at the end of the day, be able to look yourself in the mirror and go, I was a doer, I did my best. For me, um, I mentioned I have 2 adult kids, and then I've got my little one.
Yeah.
So my first 2 kids, I had my high school sweetheart Linda. We ended up getting married. We had kids very young. I was 22 when my first was born. As you can imagine, at 22, you don't really know yourself very well.
No, definitely not.
My head was full of all sorts of lies and misunderstandings of how the world really worked. I had a lot of anger. You know, uh, didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it. I had these little people that I was responsible for.
Yeah.
Linda had a lot of her own baggage, and you're just trying to figure it out. So, joking but not joking, I think Linda and I probably broke up 27 times in the time that we were married. Typical firefighter fashion.
Yeah.
Lots of struggles. And my situation just made it a little bit more complex. Um, Fast forward, through all that time, uh, the one thing I'll say about Linda, she always motivated me to be better, to go out and figure it out.
Yeah.
And at the end of things, we were still married, but we had been legally separated since 2010. Um, we were our best versions for each other when we were actually after we had separated, not because we had separated, but because we had done the work to become people healthy enough to
Yeah.
realize that it was probably a better move for us
Right.
to be friends and parent partners.
Yeah.
Um, and in 2016, she started showing symptoms in probably early 2015, but in 2016, Linda was diagnosed with ALS. We had already been apart for 6 years.
Hmm.
Um, but being that she was adopted and didn't really have any family, she was the mother of my two, you know, teen and 20-year-old, son and daughter. Um, and knowing that I could help, I think this is a big part of what we do is it's hard to
Hmm.
not help people when you know you can,
Yeah, absolutely it is.
right?
Yep.
Like it's really hard to
Absolutely.
walk by someone when you know you can make a difference, right?
Yeah.
So you're lending them your resilience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So Linda really needed some help. You know what I mean? A disease like ALS, if you don't understand it, it's a degenerative neurological disease. Every basically muscle in your body starts turning off. For her, the first things that went with her legs and her tongue and her ability to swallow. Um, I was fortunate enough to have lined up a leave of absence. I was taking a leave of absence from work just for my own personal pursuits.
Okay.
Um, but I would say a month and a half into that, uh, she was officially diagnosed. And so what started out as I'm going to take a year off for me turned into 2 years of full-time care for Linda.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So I took an unpaid leave. We cared for her full time. She only ever ended up in the hospital once, but we got her home at towards the end. We made the commitment as a family that we were going to give her as many experiences and give her and the kids as many opportunity memories as possible. But if you can imagine that everything that you have to do for yourself, someone else to do for you because you can't move or speak or swallow,
Yeah.
that's ALS, right?
Yeah, it's extremely it's a horrible, horrible disease.
Yeah.
I think I looked into it a bit, and it's crazy because your mind still works, right? But your body is starting to fail you,
Yeah.
and I can't even imagine how difficult
Well, you
that is
end up
for.
getting what they call locked in.
Yeah.
So the type of ALS that Linda had was bulbar ALS. So if you think about like probably the most famous person with ALS was Stephen Hawking,
Yep. Yeah.
right? Very rare that somebody lives as long as he did with ALS.
I think yeah, because when I was actually looking it up
It's
about ALS,
typically
he
like
he
two to
lived
five
till he was
years.
like 70. He had it forever.
Yeah. So he had a, interesting enough, they say that he had another neurological that was kind of like at odds with the ALS. It's
Okay.
kind of a really weird
Interesting.
cocktail with him, but the bottom line is that if you notice that he spoke with an eye gaze machine,
Yeah.
right? He had a synthesizer that spoke, but he was actually controlling that and he was writing all of his books and his math equations. That was all with his eyes.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
with Linda with bulbar ALS, the ability to use your eyes to use one of those devices isn't there. Your
Oh
eyes don't
shit.
track properly,
Okay.
so you end up becoming locked in. So you can keep a human body alive, but now that person is trapped and they can't tell you they want out,
Yeah, it's horrible.
right? So you have some decisions to make. And if anybody's listening and you get diagnosed with ALS, make those decisions for yourself and your family well before you get to the end, because what ends up happening is it becomes very challenging for the people that are caring for you and loving you
Yeah.
to make those decisions. And one of the decisions that we had to make for Linda is that we didn't put her on a trach. So a trach is because your lungs start to fail, your
Yeah.
diaphragm fails.
Yeah.
And the one time she ended up in hospital was because she couldn't get good air exchange. So she was getting oxygen in, but she wasn't able to off gas,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so the only real solution for that long term is to get a tracheostomy and you get a breathing machine, right?
Yeah.
That would have kept her alive probably for quite a few more years. It has its own complications, but as a family, we just decided that that wasn't something that we thought she would want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, when I
Yeah.
told you that I do my best to make my decisions through the lens of I would want if I was that other person,
Yeah.
well, that's a result of a real time experience. That's how I made
Yeah.
my decisions for Linda.
Yeah, and that must be, I mean, what a tough position for you and your family to be put in, and of course, obviously her. I mean, it's such a devastating disease, like I said earlier. But you're kind of placed in a position of having to make these decisions for someone who's not able to make them for themselves, but their mind is still fully capable of working. And um, yeah, man, I can't imagine how difficult that must have been for you guys.
Well, you know what? I would say that it was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life,
Yeah,
but it was also the most rewarding.
yeah,
And when you get into the nuts and bolts of this, like if we pull this back into like what's in our heart and in our mind, um, you know, my son and my daughter were in their 20s when Linda did pass.
hmm,
She passed Valentine's Day of 2018. Um, in talking to my son afterwards, he was like, "I don't know what to do with my life." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I've just done the most meaningful thing I could possibly do in my entire life, so I don't know what to do with my life."
yeah,
Like,
wow,
what a wisdom, right? In that.
yeah,
My daughter, I have to change everything that I've done in my life in the last 2 years because I can't trust any of the decisions I've made because every decision that I've made has been for my mom.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and when you love someone that much, that it pulls you into an entirely different life track,
yeah,
right? That's really what that experience was. And so for me, um, having supported them and Linda through that process, and I'll be the first to admit, I had my good days and my bad days. Imagine being on an aid call for 2 years nonstop. That's really
yeah,
what it is, taking care of someone like Linda, you're suctioning and you're doing all these interventions all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but what I would say is at the end of it, what I was left with was this desire to make her life's passing meaningful for my children.
Yeah.
How do we make sense of the fact that your mom just passed away from ALS? And that's where Heal came from. So it was a couple of things. So if you don't know, when you can't swallow, you get a feeding tube.
Hmm.
That came, inside of the first year for Linda. And if you don't know, feeding tube formulas are basically boost and ensure. It's like
Yeah.
liquid. It's just synthetic. It's oil, water, high
It's
concentrated
garbage,
sugars. It's
is what
all
it is.
synthetic. Vitamins and minerals. It's a subsistence. So
Hmm.
if I said to you, based on your body mass, you need to drink 14 boosts every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm out.
So you see,
That'd be horrible.
right?
It'd be
So
horrible.
so for me to go, okay, I need to make the decisions for Linda based on what I'd want for me. I can't control the fact that she can't chew and swallow anymore,
Yeah.
but I can decide what goes through that tube.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was that needs to be optimal. That needs to be superfood. That needs to be everything that her body has and or would need to be its healthiest version and have any hope of healing because we never gave up hope,
Yeah.
right? Um, and so organic, non-GMO, whole food blending, all of the things that you would think the body would want to heal literally went into this blender.
Yeah.
And you can see where the name came from,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, Linda passes. Well, a year before she passed, it just dawned on me that this wasn't just for Linda. Enough nurses, enough people ask me like, why doesn't she have bed sores? Why isn't she constipated? Why does she have such good blood work? Like, it was because we're feeding her so well,
Yeah.
right? Like she wasn't faced with all the
She was
challenges,
getting real nutrient dense food that your body needs
right?
in order to feel good, in order to thrive and survive and all that, as opposed to, like you just said, like imagine me having to drink like 14 boosts
A
a
day
day, how horrible
you'd
you
feel.
would feel. It would be atrocious.
So when you go back to what I had said before about our commitment was to let her have as many experiences and memories with her children. If you know that that person is suffering from malnutrition because you're feeding them
Hmm.
poison and their blood sugar is going up and down because you're feeding them so much sugar,
Yeah.
are they really in a good space?
No, how are they supposed to enjoy what time they have left if they feel horrible?
Yeah. And so,
You know?
I just looked at it in common sense. Nature's provided everything. I can take what these guys are saying she needs in the form of these different nutrients. I'll just find them through plants. I'll
Yeah.
find them through whole food blending. And so that's what we did. And it was when I had enough, nurse practitioners coming in. And the final straw was when I had one come in and actually ask me to write down my recipe because they're going around to
Wow.
different people and they see the suffering.
Yeah.
And here's this nurse asking me to write down what I'm feeding Linda so that she can share it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is it. I have to share this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it just was conceptually, it was like, this is no longer just for Linda. This is something that everybody deserves to have an optimal alternative to these other things. They don't have to choose it, but they deserve to have an alternative.
Yeah.
And so I started a company. I assembled, some of my close friends that I felt could be an influence. Um, Two of them are still very, very involved in the business. They're all still involved, but
Yeah.
two of them are other ones are my principal partners. We started the company in 2017. We're still grinding and fighting to get it done, but we've helped thousands of people. Um, we've done over $1 million in sales, and that all that is representative of the fact that the product is helping people and
Exactly.
they're using it. We went from being like blending in a blender. Well, you can't really commercialize that
Yeah.
unless you pasteurize it,
Yeah.
and pasteurization kills the nutrients. So again, what would I want is a nutrient dense food that I know is going to have what it says is in it.
Yeah.
So we made a powdered version that you reconstitute with water. Um, and subsequently, something that was designed for Linda is helping all sorts of people that are proactively wanting to be healthy. ton of our customers are people like me that just want to get their vitamins and their minerals from the phytonutrient in plants, not
Not
synthetic
synthetic.
vitamins or synthetic additives,
Yeah.
like a lot of these other products that are claiming to be healthy do.
Yeah.
They're all really synthesized synthetics.
Yeah, I got
Um,
this sorry to cut you off, you just remind me of
no,
something
it's
though.
fine.
A buddy of mine showed me this app where you can like scan barcodes of
Yeah,
food and stuff like that. Dude,
yeah,
I was surprised
yeah.
because some of the
And it
stuff that
rates
I
the
was
food.
eating,
Yeah,
yeah, and I was like, I pride myself on being a pretty healthy person, like eating pretty healthy, exercise, all that stuff.
yeah.
I was very surprised by some of the stuff that I was eating to find out what was in those products.
And,
It was
and so for me, that's what it was all about. Is like, how do I, a couple of things. How do I make it so that people like Linda can have nutrient dense food?
yeah.
At the same time, how can I help the caregiver have a product that they can trust
Hmm.
that's going to save them a tremendous amount of time, effort, and energy so they can feel good about giving good things to the people that they love?
Yeah.
Because we've all met people who have, after their parent has passed, had like all these regrets. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have known that. And
Absolutely.
I don't mark anybody lousy for the decisions you make. We don't all share the same resilience and or capacity for care.
Yeah.
Um, but if I can help even a handful of people feel like they did their best in the food category, I've hit my mark.
That's a win. That's a
That's a
win.
huge win, and that's
Yeah.
and that's a legacy for Linda. And interestingly enough, as I went from being a passion project of I don't care how much it costs to make, I don't care if I make any money, I just want to get this out there to people, to now realizing, well, the only way I'm going to really able to be help people to the degree that I would want to do it is I have to wrap a really smart business sense
Absolutely.
around it.
Yeah.
Um, and so, that's what we've kind of done. And in my partnership with one of the groups, it's Ethical Food Group is the name of the organization. They're a VC fund owned by a marketing and branding agency, and one in Vancouver and one in Calgary. Well, they invested into the business, and in their market research, as we're getting ready to launch in a much bigger way, like we've tested the market over the last 6 years, and now we're really ready to scale.
Yeah.
um, how many people do you think in the United States identify as caregivers?
Probably a lot more than I think.
53 million people
Holy
identify
shit.
as caregivers,
It's more than our population here.
right?
That's
So
insane.
now that's a spectrum,
Yeah.
right? Of maybe it's a mom, but right through to the person who's taking care of somebody like Linda. Like
Yeah.
these people, and interestingly enough, when you put the hat of caregiver on, do you want to give that person or that someone that you love, that you're caring for, boost
No.
or
God no.
anything like
No.
boost?
Not at
No,
all.
you want to know that you can give them something that you can trust. And so that's where Heal as a product, and a story and a brand, I would hope that everybody understands that my care for Linda just pivoted from for her to caring for other people by caring
Absolutely.
for my business and this product.
Yeah.
So that stewardship, or that, it's got to be a win for you, it's got to be a win for me, and it's got to be a win for the people we serve.
Yeah.
That whole mantra and methodology, that's not just something I'm saying, that's something I'm
So it's something that
practicing,
you're practicing. Absolutely.
right?
And you're so right too, man. Like if you want this product to help people, you have to run it like a business.
Yeah,
That's the only way that it's going to get out there.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it makes total sense, man. It's just I'm really happy I'm gonna get some
yeah.
too. But
Well, we're at this really interesting transition where we took it to a level,
mhm,
and then we had to like take it right back because we had to rebuild the brand. We had to,
yeah,
really put the work in, and EFG and the work that they did with the market research and the new packaging and all the things that we've done. When it comes right down to it, the whole plan of scaling up and improving the way that we share the product, and really just knowing that we are stewarding a solution, in the direction of people that deserve to have it. Um, and the philosophy of a lot of the things that we've already talked about, like connect the dots through the conversation.
yeah, yeah,
Adversity led to a goal led to purpose, the purpose led to conviction, and the conviction led to a no quit mindset of get it done.
Hmm.
And the feedback of doing it is what's allowed us to get better and better and better. And
Absolutely.
like, there's no secret sauce.
Yeah.
Keep surrounding myself with excellent people. Keep putting my best foot forward. Take the feedback, make a change, make a revision.
Yeah.
Um, the, it's really evident in business. This is the funny thing, is like I could give 1,000 people the same business plan,
Yeah.
and 999% of them, or 999 of them, don't do it, and the one person does. What does
Yeah.
that mean? It means that 999 people quit.
Exactly.
That's all that means.
Yeah. Yeah,
They all had the
exactly.
same plan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it really comes down to that, man. It really does. And it's what you're doing with this product and stuff, it's such a great thing, man. And because like I was saying, like, there's so much crap in our food these days.
Well,
And
and I
it's
think people just need a brand that they can trust.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And just knowing that it's all, superfoods and plant-based and it's all, there's no synthetics or anything like that, right? Um, just knowing that is huge.
Well, and some of the things that we're doing is that we want people to realize it's just do it once a day. Like,
Yeah.
get on a routine of doing it once a day.
Yeah.
Find out the things that are good for you. It's not just about heal, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
what's your regimen? What are the things that you're going to do that are going to move you in the direction of what it is that you want to be?
Exactly. I feel like it's a product that is can really help like promote, even like you said, people who are already healthy, like just help
Oh, for
promote their
sure.
health, right?
Well, and the thing is too is it's like, you're self-aware, you're fit, you're working out, right? Like, you've built a life around realizing that you're a tactical athlete,
Yeah.
all these things that you do so that you can perform. Well, that doesn't mean that your parents did that.
No,
Doesn't
no.
mean that your parents are connected to that. And then all of a sudden, you can't, make them you. You can't take them to the gym. You can't change everything that they've done in the years that they've been alive. But the
Exactly.
last thing that you want to do when they're facing maybe a time of adversity is hand them something that's going to make them sicker.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I really want for people, is to go, what, death is inevitable.
Yeah, we'll all be there at one point.
We're all going to be there. But what is it that I want to be able to say that I did to do my best for the people that I love, whether that's my friends, my family, or myself
Absolutely.
in that journey.
Yeah.
And I personally believe that if people aren't paying attention to four things, to me it's there's four pillars. It's diet, exercise, sleep, and stress reduction.
Hmm.
Those are the four pillars of longevity.
Absolutely.
And longevity is simply a result of vitality.
Yeah.
So how do I work to create vitality in my life that's going to give me the longevity that affords me a healthy life as long as I can have it?
Hmm.
Well, boost and ensure, right? Like, a lot of the things that you scan that you realize aren't good for you, the tools are out there so that we can become aware.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have nobody to blame.
100%. There's no one to blame but ourselves if you're, you know, and also when it comes to, people making excuses and stuff like that, that's another thing. It's just you're making excuses, but really you're the only person to blame,
Well, and this
right?
is this is where I'll pat you on the back, is that there's nobody to blame, but that doesn't mean that were introduced to the information.
Yeah.
So, like, you can say to a person, "Well, I just didn't know," and that's a very fair thing to say,
Yeah.
right? So, what you're doing in your arena of helping people to get information, to understand,
Yeah.
to learn, well, now there's a degree of accountability. It's
Absolutely.
hard to mark somebody, you know, that they didn't have when they didn't have the information.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the people that we love, we don't care whether they did or didn't have the information. We just want to love them, and we want to provide them with the best opportunities that we possibly can, right? And so
Absolutely.
for me, I would just, if there's one thing, whether people did or didn't use heal proactively or reactively, is the way I like to frame it.
Hmm.
Proactively, people who are health conscious and want that vitality and longevity,
Yeah.
and reactively, the people who are facing a challenge. what I just want everyone to know is that you can trust it,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You can trust that we're doing the best that's possible inside of the space that we're working,
Yeah,
and delivering what we know is the best product in the market in the category. So
absolutely.
it's definitely something that I can look at and go, Linda's smiling, you
Yeah, for
know,
sure. For
that her
sure.
life has been an inspiration, not just to me, but to lots of people that are working to really get this out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the emails that I've received from people around how the product changed their life, and, you know, we were able to go out of the house and travel
Yeah.
because we could take Heal as a food, right? Um, to, my loved one was on Heal right up to the time that they passed, or, what, I've got really bad food sensitivities, and this whole food blend is something that I can actually eat and tolerate, to, what, I just love how I feel. And I mean, the
Yeah.
numbers of people I was talking to one today, is like, man, we got to get this going again. I just miss it. Like, my body just misses all of that rich nutrition, right?
Well, you know what? It's because once you start feeling really good and you realize you're like, I feel fucking great. And
That's
then
why you're not going to quit jujitsu.
that's right, that's right. But then when that goes away,
Yeah,
you notice it tenfold,
you do. Yeah.
you know? So, by having something like that, right? Like that people they obviously realize that they're not getting it anymore and
Yeah.
they can tell how their body's feeling,
Yeah.
right? And you just notice it so much more because I feel like just with and just people don't really know maybe about like how much shit is in some of the food that we eat, right? Um, but we're almost
Well,
like
most people don't even know how to read a nutritional panel,
yeah,
or a food label.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's okay.
it's for sure, but there's so much stuff in our foods that we're almost I feel like we almost kind of feel like shit no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then you start really paying attention to what you're putting in your body and all that kind of stuff. And you start eating really clean and you start all of a sudden you start feeling really good. Suddenly
Yeah.
it's like I sleep way better now. I have way more energy. I'm doing way better at the gym. All this stuff. And then if that goes away, you've just felt what it's like to feel
You were
at
thriving.
your best.
You
You
were
know what I
thriving.
mean?
Yeah.
And
And
then when that's gone, it's like I said, you notice it tenfold because most people don't really notice it until they are able to get to that position of feeling, like they're thriving, right?
well, and that's where the vitality comes from, and it's a mindset, and the awareness, the thinking of it, and claiming it and
Hmm.
doing it. Um, the only reason you'll miss it is because you did it.
Yeah,
And that's a good problem,
exactly.
right? Just, I like to think about it like, you know, the idea of displacement. So a lot of people go, I got to empty my cup out so that I can put something new in.
Hmm.
I look at it as just start pouring the new stuff in, and eventually, if you pour water into milk, eventually there won't be any milk left in the glass.
Exactly. Yeah.
So displace the things in your life that you might not want, or that aren't serving you, by just adding in the things that will. And eventually
Yeah,
those other things just fall away.
exactly. I think that's a really good way of viewing that because I think some people who do want to change their life that don't necessarily know where to start, it's a pretty daunting thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, and I respect that. Like, I get it. I have friends who, they need to make some change in their life, but they just don't know where to start. But it's like if you just
One
start
thing.
one thing and you keep adding on to that, like you said, it's that displacement. All the bad things are going to start to kind of flow away, and all the good things are going to start to fill up that cup, right? So,
Well, and that's why I go back to diet, exercise, sleep, and stress reduction.
yeah,
Put something into any one of those categories.
yeah,
Give yourself some more rest, right?
yeah,
Um, Remove some of the stress in your life. Sometimes that's the hardest one. But what I do know is that when you're eating right and you're sleeping and you're exercising, the stress just goes away.
it does.
you
It
know
does.
and so you showcase that the mental and emotional stress that you're carrying when you step onto the mat is gone when you leave.
It's amazing, dude.
And that really is the magic of physical exercise.
Yeah,
Anybody, like, there is a biomechanical aspect to it. There are all sorts of hormones and different things that are taking place in you're burning off calories and you're getting these endorphins. And like
Hmm.
there really is a, a scientific answer as to why it works.
Yeah,
But at
absolutely.
the end of the day, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is that you just go do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you
Right?
just gotta show up.
Yeah. So for me, it's like I'm at a point in my life where it's so cool to have raised two adults. I now have this 4.5-year old.
Yeah.
Um, I've got all of this experiential wisdom. I'm not going to say that I was a bad dad, but I certainly feel like I'm going to be an amazing dad to my daughter. In that I won't make as many uneducated mistakes.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, just to know that I'm in a phase of my life where I can be more mindful and more meaningful in my choices, and I measure what I do in my day, right? For sure, downtime is a factor. My own personal self-care is a factor, but there's nothing that I'm doing in my life right now that I don't feel has a meaning or a purpose to it. And
That's amazing, man.
it feels pretty good.
It does. It
And
really
it's not even
does.
about what I achieve.
Yeah. You know what, man? I'm the same way. Like my wife, we got to talking about, the past and just my childhood and stuff like that. And I had a little bit of a rough upbringing as well in certain aspects. And I remember telling her, I said, I'm proud of the person that I've become.
Hmm.
And I never thought I'd be able to say something like that and actually mean it, and over the last few years, I really have, and it's all because of what you said. Just do it, just by doing it. Show up every day, just one step at a time, reframing your mind and stuff, right? And it's not always easy too, right? Like you got to have that self-awareness to think back and to be able to make those changes. But I tell you, like if you do it, it makes a big difference.
Well, it's and this could go on for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's worthwhile conversation as we're kind of coming more to the philosophical reasons around why we do anything.
Yeah.
But for people that are struggling with change, just imagine the person that you admire the most.
Hmm.
Because aside from the fact that we're all of equal value, people who are struggling oftentimes don't feel that to be true.
Yeah.
So think about the person that you admire the most and what it is that you feel that they deserve.
Hmm.
Write it all down and pick one of those things and do it for yourself. That's where you
Exactly.
start.
Start working on it.
Just start working on it.
Yeah.
You know, the, there is no there is no starting place that's too far down to
Hmm.
get to that level of aspiring or admiration,
For
like,
sure.
and aspiring to be that type of person,
Yeah.
right? You deserve it just as much as anyone else. You just might have had a rougher start or less advantages, or you were told the wrong things and you believe the wrong things.
Hmm.
So, changing the way you think. But, we've talked about it, whether it's stepping on the mat on day one, whether it's eating something healthy, whether it's giving yourself a little bit more sleep, whether it's deciding that you're going to do it in your career goals or
Hmm.
your relationship goals. Um, it was scary for everybody. It's just one step at a time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't
Yeah.
lose sight of where you're going.
Yeah.
And I think that, the care for Linda, man, you want to talk about a battle. You want to talk about a fight. I was fighting against a cascading neurological disease that was changing every day. Every time we thought we had something that was kind of a foundation, it would just get washed out by another change in her condition.
Yeah.
So the point of why I'm saying that is that the inspiration for that was just love for her. But at the end of the day, it was also a relationship that I had with myself.
Yeah.
How could I look myself in the mirror and not do what I knew I was capable of doing? How
Ab-
could I walk away? Right. And so if you
Absolutely.
look at yourself like Linda, if people just say, who's the one person I would love and care for no matter what? What is the desert I would walk through, the blizzards I would walk through? Like, what is it that I would, give of myself to support and love that person?
Hmm.
And just start doing that for yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I will honestly say I am my greatest thanks to Linda is I'm a better human being because of her.
Yeah. That's huge, man. That's huge to be able to say something like that because I mean, like you said, I mean, she would be smiling right now,
Yeah,
listening to what you're saying and knowing that she had what she went through created such an impact on your life, but in as negative as it was, it turned into to
something
something
positive.
that was positive,
Yeah.
right?
But how is that for a life goal? You know,
Yeah,
let's just go out and be somebody that inspired other people to be better human beings.
yeah.
If we all just focused on that in the daily,
Well, the world
right?
would be a better place if that were the
It's
case.
like it's as simple as is holding a door open for somebody or smiling and
Yeah,
saying hello and have a nice day. It's like it's very simple stuff,
yeah,
but it's all just rooted in a mutual love and respect for humanity. And
exactly.
I feel like the things that I'm doing, like I said in the beginning about the gym, like it's kind of community based. It's kind of localized. I
Hmm.
think it has a tremendous value. The stuff I'm doing with Heal, this has got big reach. It can and help and touch a lot of lives,
Yeah,
but it all matters.
yeah, absolutely it
And
does.
I still go out of my way to hold the door for people and greet people with a smile.
Yeah,
Act your way out of a feeling. Like even when
yeah,
you're having a bad day, like just treat people the way you'd want to be treated, and it's just a great place to start.
yeah. And even if you are having a bad day, let's say, and you do treat someone how you would like to be treated, it's gonna create some sort of a positive in your day. It might uplift your mood a bit too, right?
You feel good about yourself when you're nice to other
You
people.
do.
It's pretty simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Um, before we end it here, I'd like to try and ask a question for
sure.
each of my guests. So, if you could go back to when you first started in the fire service and you were on probation,
Hmm.
knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to yourself as a probie?
Wow. That's a good question. Yeah, that is a tough question because there's lots of things that I would probably say to myself. I
Hmm.
think the one that would be most impactful um, is know that it's okay to not be okay.
Hmm.
You don't have to be strong all the time.
Yeah.
Um, that it's good to share with people how you're feeling. You're not a one man army, and that the community is there to support and help you so that you can help and support the community. I think that that's something that's somewhat lost at the
Absolutely.
beginning of our careers.
Yeah.
We're expected to be everything in the beginning to get the job, and maybe lose sight of the fact that we're part of a team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Love it. That's great
yeah,
advice, man.
yeah, man.
It's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, Paul, thanks again for coming on, man.
it's been a pleasure, man.
We had a great conversation,
Yeah,
and I'm really looking forward to listening to this again. And I will say, for those of you living in the Lower Mainland who want to up your game and start training, I will post Frontline's social media info when I make our
awesome.
Instagram post on this, and then they can kind of get in contact
100%.
through there. Or
Yep,
okay,
yep, yep,
cool. I
yep.
definitely recommend to you aspiring firefighters. It's a great place to be, and you're going to be around other first responders and like-minded people, and you have the potential to learn a lot, make great friendships, and just better yourself and help better other people. So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
check it out.
yeah. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother.
You bet.